Doctors and medical professionals of Reddit, what one medical fact do you wish everybody knew? If exercise were a pill, it'd be the most prescribed drug in existence. It'd also be the only effective weight loss pill in existence. Edit, I was just making a joke. People, I am aware that it's easier to eat less than exercise to burn calories. You should not stop an antibiotic treatment because you feel better already. Seriously. This is how we get superbugs, people. Keep an eye on your weight. Rapid and intentional weight loss is often a sign something serious is up. Or gain. Was in the ER last night. Overheard guy in front of me that he gained around 30 pounds in 2 weeks and could no longer walk. Based off his swollen abdomen and wet lungs, I thought he was in congestive heart failure. He was roomed near me and it turns out that's exactly what he has. Vaccines are safe and save lives. No. You're just trying to make us autistic. Edit, S. Forgot to put it there. Thanks for the upvotes. It's significantly more effective to prevent cancer than it is to treat it. But the world isn't interested because most people just want a pill to fix their problems. Don't smoke. Wear sunscreen. Don't drink excessively. Get a bit of exercise and eat some goddamn vegetables. Do those and bam. Huge drop in cancer risk. But nobody wants to hear it. If you force yourself to eat vegetables long enough, you start to crave them. I remember when I was a kid, my meals were a mountain of rice with potatoes and tons of meat. Because that's how my dad ate. As I got older, I started introducing vegetables. After 10 years of actually eating vegetables on the regular, I prefer when the majority of my plate is veggies. And I'll take a veggie delight pizza over a meat lovers any day of the week. Viral infections cannot be treated with antibiotics. Mental illness can be as serious as a physical one. Get treated. You wouldn't let a broken leg go. Problem is, it's pretty obvious to know when you or someone else has a broken leg. But it's harder to know when you or someone else has a mental illness. Doctor here. Most important rule, know your own history and drew Gus. Our EMRs are too inefficient to depend on. Especially if you've been to many different institutions. Yes. It's in the computer is not enough, and even if you are in the same town at a different health system and we can see some of your data from your usual doc, EMRs are still pretty bad at talking to each other. If you have tons of meds, make a list. Also, when you get asked about if you have any medical problems, diabetes and high blood pressure count. Not just cancer and heart attacks. Nurse here. If you're an alcoholic that's admitted to the hospital, don't lie about how much you drink. There are drugs we can give you to take the edge off of withdrawals. It's safer for you and safer for us. We're not judging you. We have safety in mind. Doctor here. Keep things out of your ears. Seriously. If your kid has a fever, and you give them Tylenol or ibuprofen to bring it down, they are still ducking. Sick. You're only treating symptoms temporarily. Not curing anything. For the love of everything holy, do not give them Tylenol and send them to school, daycare, sports, birthday parties, etc. to become patient zero and infect everyone else. ER doc here. Medical fact. Emergency means potential loss of life, limb, or eyesight. It does not mean inconvenience, irritation, or chronic condition. Your sore throat evaluation in the ED is gonna cost you $1,000. Go to an urgent care. Also, if you're waiting for a while, don't chat the nurses. They'll see you as soon as they can. Just be thankful you're not the guy that got to skip the line because he had a metal pole jutting out of his torso. Actually, just be nice to your nurses all the time. Last time I was in the hospital, my roommate was an abject asshole to the nurses. I felt so bad I was apologizing to them for him. I got extra ice cream and he got lime jello. The worst flavor. Drug allergies and side effects are not the same thing. It makes you look like a crazy person when you have 20 allergies and 19 of the reactions are nausea. 1. Reverse cowgirl may be a fun position for you, but please be careful, girls. 2. Blood in your pee when not associated with pain and fever is something you need to get checked out. 3. Get that new ugly mole checked, especially if it is painful or bleeds spontaneously. 4. Boys, if you notice some irregularity growth in your gonads, please get it checked early. If your ball is the size of a grapefruit, ignoring it will not make it go away. It will just increase the risk of worse news than that you were fearing. It is much better to be labeled a worried well than the alternative. If we are stressed or rushed for time, it's not personal. It's the system. We may not always say it, but we are grateful for those who take responsibility for their health. Doctors are there to help you. Stop lying to them. They have to protect your privacy. So if you're doing drugs, tell them. They have to keep it secret. And it could kill you if you don't. Doctors might not snitch, but the insurance company gets to see their records. If you are American. Not a doctor, but something a doctor told me when the incident occurred. Girls, if you get excruciating cramps at the time of your period and it feels much worse than it actually is, go to a doctor. When I was 13, I had already been confirmed to having a ovarian cyst. And it made it very painful for me during my periods, to the point where I had passed out from the pain of it once. However, at one point it felt much worse than it typically did, and I blew it off as being because of my period. It turned out my appendix was bursting. The doctor told me a lot of women blow off period cramps because doctors tend to do the same. Don't. It almost meant life or death for me. Just don't lie to us. We don't judge you because your poop is smelly or you like to put things up there. Remember always, we've seen something far, far worse than the gerbil up your butt. Oh, and don't ducking drink and drive. Vet tech. Your cat is probably obese. So many people free choice their cats because it's easier, or just way overfeed their cats because cats whine a lot. You are not doing your cat any favors. He's going to get diabetes. I'd guess that about 10% of cats I've seen are actually at a healthy weight. Get a good one toy and play with your cat every day, and for God's sake limit how much they eat. Also, treats are supposed to be less than 10% of your pet's caloric intake. Cool it with the treats. Know the signs of a heart attack and stroke and don't tough it out. These are time sensitive and potentially deadly events. Paramedic here. Super frustrating when I get a patient who didn't call early enough, and because of that they can't get life-saving treatment or the damage is already done. Edit. If you're having an EKG done, tell them to run a 15-lead EKG. If they don't know what it is, tell them to Google it. Posterior heart attacks are missed because not many people know what a 15-lead is. RPH here. Do not keep your medicine in your medicine cabinet in your bathroom. The steam from a shower and the temperature fluctuations will degrade your medication. Keep them in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Also look through your OTC items in your house and clean out the expired drugs and restock your basics: ibuprofen, acetaminophen, Pepto, eye drops, etc. Not a medical fact. As much as it's just something I wish all patients would do, I'd love it if patients could bring a sheet of paper with all the meds they're on. Past medical history, past surgical history, allergies, and family doctor contact info. It's a small thing, but can be so helpful. Nurse and midwife here. I wish people understood that if they are receiving treatment for a condition, they still have that condition. Case in point, if you're taking medication for something you aren't suddenly free of that disease. Your blood pressure meds are maintaining a normal blood pressure because you have the condition of high blood pressure. Your insulin is maintaining your blood sugars because you have diabetes. Sounds simple, but amazing how much people tell us they have no conditions but are on 1000 medications that tell a different story. Your immune system is one of the greatest assets you have, and you never thank it. In your life, your body will autonomously eradicate between 6 and 10 cancers without your realizing. It will fight your infections, repair microtraumas, and police the entire population of billions of cells in your body without your asking. All it requests in return is a little bit of health to preserve it. Stop smoking. Lose weight. Maybe exercise a little. Don't drink so much. Your diet is so much more important that you realize. Dentist here. Just because a toothache goes away doesn't mean it's all better. Many times it's the calm before the abscess. It goes from dying to dead to abscessed in as fast as a day or sooner. Doctor here. Don't stop your medications by yourself. Just don't. No matter how good you feel. Patients stop antibiotics and relapse. So many resistant TB cases here. Stop taking insulin and come with DKA. Stop taking antihypertensives and get a stroke. Don't stop any drug unless cleared prior with your doctor. Most of the diseases can only be managed. They can't really be cured. If you have diabetes, get sugar levels tested at least once a month. Don't ignore it. Don't mix alcohol and antidepressants. Also, no matter how bad it is, we have seen worse. Don't be ashamed. Pull out doesn't mean she won't get pregnant. Precum has sperm too. Last. If you see anyone vomiting and lost conscious, turn them to their side. Less chances of it entering lungs. Alcohol withdrawal is deadly. Many of my patients don't know this. It's a gamble. I've seen fifth of vodka day drinkers not withdrawal. And 2-3 beers day withdrawal. It onsets quickly. And it's deadly. Anyone who drinks almost daily and is deciding to quit cold turkey needs to understand this. And notify family at the bare minimum. Don't lie to us. It never works out. And if your pee is a different color, don't ignore it. Seek help. Volunteer Starship crew member here. When you suspect whoever is lying down is not breathing by themselves, begin CPR immediately and do not stop until medical professional arrives. Even if this means that you have to go on for several hours. We do not perform CPR to have the patient miraculously wake up and make out with us. We do this to sustain the most vital bodily function, the circulation of oxygen to the brain, until we can get that person to a hospital. I may be alone in this, but I want my patients to know that there is no possible way I can keep up with all the medical advances and new studies that are out there. And I also want them to know that there are thousands of conditions that I learned about in medical school that I've forgotten because I've never seen nor recognized them in practice. This is important, because my patients frequently apologize for looking up things on the internet. No. Don't apologize. I want you to research your condition. I want you to look things up. I want you to know about new treatments, new research, and alternative medications. Because often I don't. I may not agree with the things you've read. And that's fine too. Ask me about things you've read in the picture you found that looks like your rash. I can't tell you how many times a patient has come to me with a suggestion about a possible explanation for symptoms because they read about it on the internet that turned out to be a correct or at least reasonable guess. Please educate yourselves about yourselves. Some good websites are the CDC website and AAFP.org, the American Academy of Family Practice. And if your doctor is offended that you're trying to be educated, get a different doctor. Source: I'm a doctor. Resident here. There is no singular cure for cancer. There is not a big pharma conspiracy that hinges on keeping said cure a secret. Smoking not only causes cancer, but also arteriosclerosis, COPD and multiple other problems you're much more likely to encounter when smoking. Former EMS here. Don't get angry when that quiet person gets taken out of the ER waiting room before you. You have a headache and are aging and I can't help you. But that person who just got taken back is quiet for a reason. You are not dying. Death is quiet. I can't tell you how many times I took someone to the ER yelling and kicking and screaming, and when we roll up and they get looked at, it's often minor. I've seen people who I had a feeling would not make it. They lay still and quiet and it's almost eerie. Clinical psychologist here. If you need mental health treatment, try your local college campuses. Oftentimes there are training clinics, supervised by some of the best clinicians around. Most will provide a generous sliding fee scale. Treatment works, especially for sleep problems, depression, anxiety, PTSD, etc. Also, do not ignore mental health problems in your children or adolescents, including when you are concerned about substance use. Early intervention works best, and if you wait until they are 18, they may not get treatment for another decade because they refuse to go in until they mature in their late 20s. So if your child or adolescent is showing signs of a mood or anxiety disorder, cutting, struggling with ADHD, and is using drugs regularly, weekly or more, and you are concerned, consider an intake assessment with a licensed psychologist. Not a doctor, but 1 year off of the mark. As a training psychologist on an interdisciplinary team, I wish patients knew that community resources often work on income-based, sliding fee scales to meet the client financially. Let's be real, mental health coverage is trash right now. But there is an abundance of professionals who acknowledge this and advocate in-house. It is always worth asking around.